Oh, the drama just reached a whole new level, folks. Tom Bauer has just exposed Harry like we've never seen before. This time, it's not the tabloids, not palace whispers, not some random source with an agenda. This time, it's Harry himself. His very own voice turning his carefully constructed image to dust in less than a day. For years, we've seen Harry on his so-called rebranding tour, playing the misunderstood royal, the rebel with a cause, and, of course, the mental health warrior. Every Netflix documentary, a masterpiece of perfect lighting and inspirational speeches. Every podcast, a polished, empathetic version of Harry, so perfectly curated that it was almost too good to be true. He even made whining about his family seem like he was saving the world. Seriously, the guy made complaining into an art form. It was all too rehearsed, too perfect. But then came the tapes, and oh boy, suddenly the fairy tale was shattered. The Harry we saw on screen? Gone. What was left was the real Harry, bitter, entitled, and let's be honest, completely allergic to humility. This wasn't the Harry we thought we knew. This wasn't the relatable royal we'd been sold. No, this was a Harry who was upset about being caught in the world's most expensive spotlight and the very idea of needing to answer for it. And get this, Meghan, silent, complete radio silence, not a word, nothing. The moment Meghan Markle chooses to stay silent, you know it's bad. When this woman doesn't react, you can bet it's serious. Now, when Tom Bauer's name started trending with the words hidden tapes, we knew something big was coming. PR teams from London to LA must have been in full-on panic mode. This wasn't just another blogger trying to cash in on the Sussex drama. This was Tom Bauer, the man who can end careers with just 2 sentences. And right on cue, he dropped a bombshell that no one was ready for. Harry's team, they were busy trying to control the narrative as always. They were prepping for another sympathy tour, another pivot. But what did Bauer do? He quietly dropped the tapes and waited, just waited. While Harry's team was trying to distract with another staged narrative, Bauer made sure that the truth, ugly, unpolished, and very much unfiltered, came out into the open. But the best part? Meghan. Oh, Meghan's reaction was chilling. Not a word, no defense of Harry, not even a subtle, he didn't mean it quote, nothing. In fact, sources close to the couple are starting to believe that Meghan had already known about the tapes, but she assumed they'd never see the light of day. And now? Well, she's probably wishing she had said something.
Prince Harry, this is probably one of the worst few months of his life.
Yeah, you're absolutely...
You've got Harry, who has created this world of delusion now around the fact that the media was conspiring with the institution and senior members of the royal family to somehow force Harry and Meghan out. When actually, Tom, I know for a fact, and you know for a fact, that Harry and Meghan were doing exactly the same thing with favoured journalists when they were in the royal family.
And even worse than that, Dan, we know they're doing it now too. And what is really so shocking about this attack on the media is that Harry never actually names anybody who has denounced him, who has fed the press. All I know is when I wrote my book, which is very revelatory, as you know, about Meghan and Harry, I got absolutely no help from the palace whatsoever, on the contrary. And they keep on making these broad allegations without names, without incidents, without examples, no evidence at all.
It's another weird week on planet Sussex where the gruesome twosomes' extraordinary lives get stranger by the day. Watching this tawdry real-life soap opera in all its lack of glory is becoming an almost painful experience.
Falling out with Queen Elizabeth II, I mean, that's pretty bad for Meghan.
I mean, imagine if this came out a few years ago. People would have been like, oh, you know, this is a planted story or whatever. But one thing we've noticed is a bit of a thread of commonality. So the whole, with Prince Harry being too in love, we know that King Charles said something about him being whipped.
Holy shit. He said what?
Trouble in paradise? Rumors of divorce, and they're taking time apart.
Things haven't been so marvellous over in Montecito.
The tabloids seem to be in attack mode. Why? Well, speculation is there's pressure on the pair after some recent bad press.
A 40-year-old man-child lost in Montecito, ludicrously sensitive to criticism.
Alternatively, charming, spoiled, badly educated, simple-minded and demanding, and that previous girlfriend said he lacked class, was unromantic, unserious, short-tempered, imperious. What on earth did Meghan see in that then?
She saw someone who's needy. She saw somebody
she could fix.
Who she could use and who could serve her purposes. And to be fair, I think Harry saw the same in her. He was looking for someone who, despite all those minuses, wanted him, and she did want him because
because she then was promoted from an unknown actress into a global star. So they served each other.
Have you ever seen that video?
No.
Pull that video up.
They are destroying us.
It's interesting sort of how, from what we've heard, the Queen's opinion of Meghan evolved, and it's much like how the country's opinion evolved. I remember actually where exactly I was when Meghan and Harry got married. It was my final year of university. I was in a giant park, and much like the public, I think, you know, the Queen thought Meghan was a breath of fresh air, very intelligent, very well spoken, obviously from her acting background, and you know, she welcomed her, I think, like much of the country, with open arms. I think where things went wrong was clearly the cultural clash, and you mentioned that with Princess Catherine and Meghan. And I think in some ways Meghan thought she was marrying a billionaire, but was marrying a millionaire with like a sort of a reduced status. So that might have been not appealing eventually.
That Andy told him he was, and I quote, bonkers for marrying Meghan because she was way too old for him.
So I'm not surprised.
I wish I could say that surprises me, but it seems like the privacy brigade, when they're not begging us to leave them alone, will also do anything for attention.
And the best part? Meghan's reaction, or should I say, lack of reaction. Absolutely nothing. No words, not a single peep, and when Meghan Markle decides not to speak, you know it's bad. I mean, if the royal family had a list of people they'd rather not respond to, Tom Bauer would definitely be at the top in all caps. This is not some random blogger trying to make a quick buck. Oh no, Bauer is the man who can end a career with 2 sentences and a footnote.
That hapless husband of hers, a 40-year-old man-child, lost in Montecito, ludicrously sensitive to criticism, incapable of ever seeing that anything is his fault, always pointing the finger at others, while with monotonous regularity boosting the bulging bank balances of his lucky lawyers, who he appears to have on speed dial.
Now, we all know Harry's team is always on high alert. They're constantly controlling the narrative, making sure everything is packaged and presented just right for the media. But guess what happened when Bauer dropped these tapes? Complete and utter chaos. While Harry's team was scrambling to prep for another sympathy tour, Bauer just quietly dropped a bombshell and waited for the fallout. He didn't even flinch. It was genius timing, right when Harry was trying to execute his next big pivot. You know, the same pivot that flopped harder than Meghan's Netflix series.
We know now in hindsight that Meghan never really intended to stay. Her guest list to her wedding showed her real ambition was to be a star in California, and Harry's friends were excluded from the guest list in the evening from the dinner.
No one saw this coming. Not in Hollywood, not in royal circles. It was like Harry's team was busy preparing for a sympathy tour, but Bauer, he was like a sniper, just waiting for the right moment to take the shot. He knew this wasn't some casual gossip. Oh no, these tapes were the real deal. Harry going off on everyone. He's ranting about brand deals, tearing into Meghan's business choices, and even making some seriously bitter comments about his family.
I choose people who don't want to be written about on the whole, whose lives are shrouded in mystery, and they want to hide their secrets, and I just love digging away to find out what they don't want us to know.
And the moment Harry's team found out the tapes were out, oh, you could feel the panic. Apparently Harry lost it. We're talking about yelling, slamming phones, panic attack level stress. In a move straight out of a bad PR playbook, his team decided the best thing to do was to pretend the tapes didn't exist. Yeah, sure, that always works, except it doesn't. People started Googling immediately.
Well, the future of Sussex I think is pretty grim. I think that they're on a permanent decline. Whenever they need money, whenever they need publicity to stoke their reputation, they'll drop another little bomb. I mean, we're still waiting, of course, for Meghan's own autobiography, which I'm sure she is penning. She is a good writer, and it'll be filled with vitriol and filled with lies. I mean, she will not tell the truth because she wants sensational headlines. That is the ultimate weapon she can deploy.
This is where it gets juicy. Normally, when Harry gets bad press, we can expect a few media outlets to swoop in with their "he's misunderstood" fluff pieces. But this time, total radio silence. Not even a whisper. No one from Netflix is rushing to defend him. The palace? Still as tight-lipped as ever. Charities that once loved working with Harry and Meghan? Suddenly, they've got other projects they're too busy with. Do you know what that means? Harry and Meghan have officially become radioactive.
A post-Harry divorce.
These are challenging times for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
Harry and Meghan's marriage is in trouble.
There's such a mess going on around.
Meghan, in typical Meghan fashion, hasn't said a thing. Not a word. No, my husband didn't mean it. No, we're working on healing quotes. Nothing. In fact, sources say Meghan's been quietly eyeing solo projects without Harry. Yep, it looks like she's already planning for a future without him attached to her brand. And let's be real here. She's probably rehearsing her own independent documentary, right? Because if Meghan's good at one thing, it's spinning a narrative to her own advantage.
When Meghan came along into the scene, I just thought, this is fascinating. How is this going to play out? To tell the truth, I spoke to very few friends of Meghan because she put a fatwa on anyone talking to me who she could. So I sent off dozens and dozens of emails to her friends, and most of them didn't even reply. And obviously I spoke to her father, who loves her still very much, and said, in the end, whatever she is, she's still my daughter.
Meanwhile, Harry's lawyers are working overtime, sending out cease and desist letters, making legal threats, but guess what? The internet doesn't care. By the time the first lawyer email hit inboxes, the tapes had already been downloaded, shared, clipped, remixed, and even turned into TikToks. And here's the thing, when you try to shut something down in the age of social media, you only make people more curious.
Now, one thing about Meghan Markle right now is that she's getting very desperate in light of Hollywood, the film industry, and everything to do with what's wrong with Hollywood right now. They are beginning to reject her outright. A lot of studios want nothing to do with Meghan Markle ever again, or if at all. And it only starts from there, because now there's a recent discovery going on with Meghan Markle that is they're actually screaming desperation, and it really just goes to show you exactly what's been going on in Meghan Markle's mind. Now,
Harry just gave the internet its greatest gift. Congratulations, Harry. Your PR nightmare has just become a viral sensation. The damage here isn't just that these tapes exist, it's that they reveal the truth. Harry's whole trauma branding empire might not have been about healing after all. It could have been more about cashing in. And once the public feels used, they don't come back.
You can only feel sorry for a starry-eyed couple who fled to America with well-meaning plans to save the poor and the vulnerable, but now increasingly look as if they need to be saved from themselves.
The moment that happened, the truth was undeniable. Once the illusion of Harry as the wounded truth teller was exposed, it's like someone pulled a plug on the sympathy. The damage was immediate and irreversible. Hollywood, no calls. The palace, not budging. Meghan, silent as a grave. And the public, they're sitting back, watching as the man who once had the world in the palm of his hand now struggles to stay afloat.
Very, very rocky marriage. That the Sussex couple are now sleeping in separate beds.
Instead, what insiders are saying is that Meghan's been quietly working on her own solo projects. No Harry involved, no Sussex brand, just Meghan finding her own voice. Translation, Meghan Markle is already laying the groundwork for her post-Harry comeback, and she's probably already drafting her I'm Stronger Than Ever documentary in her head. It's classic Meghan. Take the opportunity to shine while the spotlight is on her, but this time without Harry around to steal her thunder. And you'd think Harry would have learned from all this, right? I mean, you can't unring the bell. Once the tapes were out, they were out for good. The internet had a field day, downloading, re-uploading, remixing, and yes, even turning those tapes into viral moments. What was Harry's response? Legal threats, cease and desist letters, but did it work? Nope. If anything, it just made people even more curious. Harry thought he could control the narrative forever, but the reality is, he lost it, and now even his allies in the media have backed away. The royal family, they're not jumping in to save him. No one's rushing to defend the man who built his empire on a narrative of healing and redemption, only for that very narrative to collapse under the weight of his own words.
Tom, wow, what do you make of it all?
Well, it is exactly what we've been predicting for months, Dan. Both of us in our programs have been saying that in the end it's going to be a bombshell and Harry is going to make his fortune by treachery. And that's why, of course, the book was called Revenge, my book, because this is the worst sort of revenge imaginable. Harry has behaved dishonestly, disgracefully, and one can only be grateful he's not heir to the throne, because this man, 38-year-old, crying about what happened still 25 years ago to his mother, he just can't stop. He is really quite deranged and causing enormous damage to the royal family.
The truth didn't destroy Harry. Harry destroyed Harry. He thought he could play the part of the perfect misunderstood prince forever, but the tapes exposed him for what he really is. And now, the public is asking, was Harry ever really trying to heal, or was he just trying to cash in on his own pain? It's a brutal question, and it's one that's hard to answer without it stinging. The real kicker here is that the tapes exposed more than just Harry. They exposed the entire Sussex brand. For years, they've built this image of themselves as the perfect couple. Victims of the royal family, battling for privacy, trying to heal the world. But when the curtains were pulled back, we saw the truth. The entire brand was nothing more than a well-produced infomercial for victimhood. And you can't repackage that. Once the real Harry and Meghan were revealed, there was no going back. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this content, check out my other videos above. Trust me, if you think this drama was wild, you won't believe what's coming next. Stay tuned, stay safe, and stay informed.